Fellas, some weird stuff happening in South Africa. Again, sometimes I wonder why. Weird stuff always happening in South Africa. This is just crazy. It's insane. A 70-year-old farmer, orchard farmer, drove his vehicle over a little boy, 6-year-old boy, fellas, because he allegedly stole an orange from his farm. What's up, everybody? I hope you're doing good. It's not a beautiful day because I don't feel good at all about the situation. I'm personally really hurt and it's unacceptable. 70-year-old orchard farmer. Orchard farm are farmers where they produce trees and fruit and nut, as opposed to tomatoes and potatoes. They produce apples and, oranges and stuff like that for consumption. And as you know, by now, surely you know, maybe you don't, but the majority of farmers in South Africa are not black. Okay, so yeah, it's part of the cultures. I believe they learned it from their forefathers how to be farmers, and the majority of people that consume are black. Yes, black people consume, and white people produce. I'm sorry if you feel wrapped up. I'm sorry, it's part of the story. I didn't create this. You can double check. It's the truth, the reality. So apparently this young boy who's 6 years old, fellas, 6 years old. I don't even know how to say. 6 years old little boy went somewhere apparently in the farm, allegedly stole an orange from the farm. And this man decided the best punishment he will give this boy is to drive over him with his car. 70-year-old orchard farmer from Louisville along the West Coast expected to appear in court. I think he's already appeared in court, but now for attempted murder. Dude, that's already murder. I'm sorry. Of a 6-year-old boy after he allegedly drove over the child for stealing an orange in his farm. Okay, you talk about Rainbow Nation. Rainbow Nation, let's accept each other, be with one another. Whatever that's happened in the past, let's forget about it. I mean, I'm sorry, but I know you can't put all white people in the same box. Say they all like this, but I just mean, the farmer drove over the child, and it is claimed that he saw the child and his mother next to the road near his farm, and then drove over the child. He saw the child and the mother. I don't know how he got information that the boy stole orange, or maybe he just saw a boy walking down the street with an orange. Since he owns an orange farm, he just sees a boy in the street who's black with an orange. So suddenly the boy stole an orange from his farm. Or maybe he saw him from afar stealing the orange.
I'm still very shocked. I don't know how to explain. My heart is broken, but I feel a bit happier now that bail was denied.
It's just an orange, for crying in a bucket. And you know what pisses me off is some people were discussing on the radio, talking about this. This is unacceptable. This is cruel. You can't do. You cannot punish a 6-year-old boy for doing things that 6-year-old boys will do. 95% will do. And the other person on the other line say, well, how do you treat thieves in your locations and your illegal settlement? In other words, we wanted to say that black people do worse things to thieves in their areas of living. So the person who happened to be white said, how do you treat thieves in Soweto? How do you treat thieves in Guguletu? How do you treat thieves in Langa, in Nyanga, in all these places where black people live? What do you do to them? Well, we've heard stories that the thieves get their hand chopped. Sometimes they get beat up. Sometimes they will get torched with the tire. So it becomes very difficult to, you know what I mean? So the person says, okay, you're saying we did this because we white, right? Because we racist. Now, how do you treat thieves in your area? I know that doesn't justify the fact that a 70-year-old man will take a truck and drive over a 6-year-old boy and breaks both his legs. So the farmer drove over the child, and it is claimed that he saw the child with the mother walking together. It's also alleged that the suspect told the police that he would do it again if he had the chance. He said he would do it again. That's just like some higher level of get the fuck. Yeah, that's like, what do you do? I don't even know how to express myself. I lost my tongue there. He says he will do it again. That's what he said to the police. Because the child stole, he deserved to be driven over with a truck. So the child and the mother went to an hospital in Vendredal and then were transferred to Pearl Hospital for better treatment. And it is confirmed that both legs of the child were, 6-year-old fellas, talking about love.
In our time, when I was young, if you stole due to hunger or when you were just being childish, you would have gotten a beating. These days, we are seeing a trend in Matsikama where our young people are being killed and assaulted. So we are very happy with the outcome of today.
I don't know how you children must be protected. This is very sad. It's very sad because they have a point. Because the point is they say black people treat thieves even worse. They say sometimes they torch them, sometimes they chop them hand. That is very sad. There was another story of an Heidelberg man, apparently 33 years old, who was unalive after being locked in a cold storage, allegedly for stealing chocolate. Yes, they locked him in a cold storage.
They don't have a right to arrest. They don't have a right to beat. They don't have a right, even if that particular somebody have done that, their duty is very simple as the manager, is to manage the shop, your stock and everything, not to manage a human being. So that management must be held accountable. And if there are no answers come this Friday, there are no answers, we are left with no option. We are going to boycott. We are going to boycott that shop.
And this is the story they bring in across, okay? So you accusing them of saying you are racist. How come you've just driven over a 6-year-old boy for stealing an orange? They come up with the story. Oh, look back what you guys did. They say Bandile Shabalala, 33 years old, was unalive after ShopRite manager. ShopRite is a supermarket, quite prominent in South Africa. The ShopRite manager allegedly locked him inside a cold storage room for allegedly stealing a chocolate bar. Okay? Shabalala initially reported as being 13 years old. That's what the report said. The initial report said Shabalala was 13 years old. The report given by the police community. He was believed to have been locked inside the cold storage for about 11 hours. And his body was found outside AFBOB premises next to ShopRite on Monday. AFBOB is undertakers, undertakers. So somebody stole a bar of chocolate, you lock him in a locker room, a cold room where you keep fish and chicken and meat for 11 hours.
Okay, fine, masifika laphayana. Ikhona iveni yamaphoyisa. I-ambulance ayikho. Ubandile. Ubekiwe laphayana la abeke khona, there is a shop. Lapho kwi-center le eyalana yase ShopRite bathi AFBOB. Obekwe lapho like umuntu ohlelisiwe. Ane? Okay, fine. Sifuna ukwazi.
Gee whiskies. This is another level of violence. Like, why? Is this the trauma of apartheid? Is this, you cannot ignore the trauma of apartheid. I'm not saying. I mean, Africans have all trauma. I mean, most Africans are violent. I'm just being honest with you. Violent in terms of, and don't censor me, I'm telling you the truth. Psychologically, they say violence and trauma are transmitted through genes. Our ancestors, and some people, not everybody's ancestors, you must say that. A lot of people's ancestors were beaten up really, really, really bad. And I'm saying a lot of people because slavery was not all over Africa. Slavery was specifically in some areas of Africa that was hit very hugely. Some other places were hit, but not as much as other places. And you will see when you go to some nations, violence is easy. Like, people just lack violence. They're just ready to fight. They're just ready to destroy. Constructing is very difficult. Love is very slow. Acceptance, tolerance, very, very slow. But destruction, combativity, war, it's rampant. It's unbelievable. Short-tempered, unbelievable. I mean, we all gone through that. Slavery, colonialism, apartheid, and more. What is this culture? How do we justify this young boy who's just been driven over by old man, 70 years old, in his truck for allegedly stealing a piece of an orange, one orange? If in the meantime they're saying, okay, so you guys also, by the way, how do you treat thieves in your communities? You chop them hand, you burn them with tires sometimes. You do really bad things, you beat them to unalive. You know what I mean? I think it's a very interesting story. I think we need more tolerance within ourselves, but we need to have this man condemned for the longest time. And I don't understand why they say, attempted murder. I mean, this is murder. I mean, what do you call murder? I think they need to change the thing, because when you take a 6-year-old and you run over him, that's murder. Yeah, I mean, what makes you think that his legs are going to get back to what it was supposed to be? You don't know that. 2 broken legs, for what? For an orange? And obviously, the man is 70 years old. He lived during apartheid. He was probably one of those leaders that's really, really, really enjoyed it. The supremacy that they enjoyed. I mean, a lot of whites in South Africa, you must be honest, missed that time of apartheid because they're privileged and they were first in everything. They were favorized. They were chosen. They didn't need to wait on a queue. They were immediately accepted in a bank, whatever. It's not the case today. Things have changed. And many people who are actually old tend to really miss that time of apartheid, where they say during apartheid, the country was very quiet. There was no criminality. no thieves. There was no need for security guards. Let me just remind you here, South Africa has the most security guards in all of Africa. In South Africa, security job is the biggest industry out of every other job. It employs the most people in every area of South Africa. They have more security guard than the army, more security guard than the police force, more security guard than anything. Now, why do they have security guard? Because of criminals. Where do the criminals come from? Are the criminals white or black? Now, do they really want crime to end in South Africa? Because if they really wanted crime to end, especially violent crime, these people won't be getting bail to get out of prison. People who shoot each other will be unalived as well. I mean, if you take somebody that shot somebody and you tell him in 2 years you're going to get unalived because you shot somebody, do you think somebody else will dare go shoot? No, they won't. They will not. It sounds like somebody's profiting from all this mayhem. They want the businesses to run. They want the security companies to make money. I mean, yeah, I understand the security agent and guards need a job, but that's not the only. I mean, people only work on jobs where the jobs are available. If you redirect the idea onto some other things and skills, people will get the skills. Well, if you tell them all you need to is have a firearm and live in a violent place, well, violence will never end. It's the same thing as, vaccines and all that stuff. If there's continuous diseases, that thing will never end. It's a business. People are making money. You don't need to be. They should be making a lot of money off these businesses. I mean, the government can stop the crime if they want it. I'm just saying. I mean, drastic measure. How did Rwanda do it? Rwanda is the safest country in Africa. Safest. You can send your little girl, 6-year-old, to go buy sugar at the corner shop, probably at 11 p.m., and she will come back with no issue. By herself. Yeah. How did they do it? They're not superhumans. As a matter of fact, South Africa has more means and resources than Rwanda. So they can do it. Nelson Mandela came out of jail and said, well, no more death sentences. These people have suffered too much. No more death sentences because you're going to sentence people for free. Well, people are dying for free right now. Well, sorry for this young little boy who's been run through with a truck by a 70-year-old fart who says he's going to do it again. Like, why don't you just put, that's murder. If he says, I'm going to do it again, it wasn't a mistake. He said, I will do it again. Allegedly, I would do it again if I had an opportunity. Why do you, God bless you.